Welcome back to the Thom Hartmann Program. I'm filling in for Thom. I'm Alex Lawson. And still with us on the phone is John Nichols, the National Affairs Correspondent for The Nation magazine. And John, I fully appreciate the carefulness with which you are saying we just don't know the facts when it comes to Russia. And I think that is so important because the only way that we will know the facts is if there is an independent investigation. And now what Donald Trump has done, in my eyes, is, a sort of legal. He has definitely acted as if there is a lot there, right? In removing the person in charge of that investigation, he has definitely made it seem by his actions that there is a there. And if he was thinking that this was an action that was going to help make the story go away, his miscalculation, I don't think, could have been greater.
I totally agree with you. In fact, that's obviously, as we were, went to the break there, that was the point I was making. Here you have a tremendous amount of churn around this investigation. Far from being finished, it looks like it's actually hitting its mark, getting to places where we might get some answers. And in fairness to Donald Trump, where you might have some people cleared, you might have some, clarity that could even be beneficial to the president, right? But instead of letting the investigation go where it should, letting it expand if need be, getting the resources to resolve these issues, the president removes the guy that's in charge. Now, if he had removed Comey the day he came into the White House and said, look, I watched what this guy did during the 2016 campaign. I just don't think he did a good job. I don't trust him. We need a new head of the FBI. That would have been one thing. But no, it comes at the point where Comey is literally going to Congress and talking to Congress about these precise issues. And so the removal is in and of itself something that should give clarity to everyone. And that's Democrats, you're correct, but also Republicans who may be very, very conservative ideologically, but that are, in fact, responsible players as regards how the government operates. They should all be in agreement that this is not normal. It can't be normalized. It cannot be accepted. And so the concern you express is a really important one. We should not look at the Democrats and say, well, hey, guys, what have you come up with here? What are your theories? They should be coherent in their critique and in their demands. That coherent approach makes it easier for responsible Republicans, of which there are some, to align with them. And so I do think there's a challenge here. Now, what do you ask for? Obviously, this is a difficult situation because there are many, many things you could ask for. A special counsel, a special prosecutor, a special commission. You could examine accountability issues. You could, the Senate could be looking at a censure for Jeff Sessions, or could be looking at the impeachment issue as you appropriately raise it.
John, I think you're exactly right that there's a lot we don't know, and we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. And I think that's really important. And that's why I think a call for an independent investigation should be the rallying cry of the Democrats on the Hill and probably the grassroots as well, that we need an independent, a trustworthy investigation. But I'd like to hear what you think about that, because is that the right thing to be asking for?
I think that it's one of the right things to be asking for, but I don't necessarily think it's all of what you might ask for. Remember, when we talk about having a coherent plan, when you have some sort of vision for what you're going to demand, it doesn't have to be just one thing, but it does have to be a response that makes sense, not merely to your fellow members of Congress, say if you're a Democratic member of the House or Senate, but also to the American people. So what might your asks be? I think at this point, because of the chaos in the FBI, the mess that has been created by this firing, but also by kind of the ongoing questions about how the FBI is operating on all this, an independent inquiry of some sort makes sense. Now, that doesn't exclude the FBI, but it makes sense that there should be an independent inquiry. I have qualms about commissions because I think that they often take so long to operate that you end up in a situation where the commission approach ends up taking sometimes years to get to a resolution. So I like the idea of a special counsel or a special prosecutor. There's obviously legislative steps that have to be taken in this regard, and that becomes difficult. But I think that making a clear demand for some sort of special inquiry, whatever it is of those ones that we've talked about, that's step one. Step two, I think it is essential to put pressure on President Trump as regards the next head of the FBI, because this is an important agency and a powerful agency that is investigating not just this, but so many other issues. That next head of the FBI has to be independent from Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would suggest is that Democrats ought to actually start talking about names, acceptable and unacceptable, and make it clear. Don't be reactionary, but actually, put proposals forward here. And then finally, last but not least, I really emphasize that Sessions thing. Sessions is abandoning his recusal. He is undoing the requirements he placed on himself and stepping back into the middle of this whole process. I don't think that's acceptable. And so I would hope that in the Senate, where you can obviously easily do a censure proposal, doesn't mean it will pass, but you can do it. I would hope that someone would put forward a censure proposal. That could become a vehicle to demand that Sessions come back to the Senate Judiciary Committee and answer questions about his obviously inaccurate, dishonest, many people believe, answers to the committee when he was there. So that's one vehicle. The other vehicle beyond censure, and again, even if not all Republicans back this, the point of just putting it down, laying down the proposal, I do think that, as you'd mentioned before, impeachment is a legitimate option to discuss. And I don't like it that people put impeachment off the table. Remember, impeachment is not removal from office. It's the beginning of an examination of whether someone should be removed from office.
John Nichols, National Affairs Correspondent for The Nation magazine. Read his piece, Trump Fires Comey, Putting the Country on the Verge of a Constitutional Crisis.
You're
right
listening
now
to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
We'll be right back with more of the Thom Hartmann Program after this.